Bratburst, splatburst, how to get the Truffle Master mutation and more. So the first step I'm showing you, but should be the last thing that you do, is head to the red anthill and get yourself some eggs. Make this easier, make sure you've got 3 pieces of red ant armour wearing, and the ants will leave you alone, including the soldier ants, until you pick the eggs up. And this is why you do this last, because the eggs can actually hatch. You don't want to necessarily grab a bunch and then them all hatch on you. Next up, you need to go and get some of the fungal growth. Now, I'm over on the edge here by the flagstones, and I find that some of the runs in here are a little bit easier to get some of the fungal growth, rather than going all out war against all the infected creatures. It's literally with the flagstones between the haze and the picnic bench, and making sure you've obviously got a weevil gas mask. You're going to go in here with a tier 2 blade, not to be confused with a ant sword. It has to be a tier 2 dagger. So that can be the spider fang, or it can be the bone dagger. So you'll notice these will explode. Obviously by now they do a lot of damage to you unless you go and hit them and get rid of them first. That is not the fungal growth. The fungal growth instead has got a much more whiter appearance and it pulsates. It's usually surrounded by the exploding ones though, so make sure you take care of them first. And as you can see, you can hack away at the haze fungus. It usually drops 2 to 3 pieces, and this will hopefully get you enough to start making your bombs. As I said, the runs nearer the flagstone are often a little bit more empty, usually with dead bugs. You won't find as many larvae around this place, and certainly not many ladybugs. All infected creatures in the game will give you some sort of fungal growth though when you attack and kill them. My favourite ones for getting them easy without risking death are the flies. The infected flies can be found near the flagstones at this giant massive gulch, but be careful, there's still more infected all around you, and you will also find them at the back of the large stone where you find all the bombardier beetles. As I'm demonstrating here, on different difficulties, basically the normal ones, these guys can be super tough to defeat, and even on mild mode you can see this one nearly took me out. There's not many markers to show you, but just on the map where I am right now, here is where the gulch is, and there's usually a good few flies. Don't go down here, there's plenty of larvae. Unless you've got lots and lots of armour, you will get wrecked. The other maybe slightly safer location, like I said, is the back of the large rock where usually the bombardier beetles are, and you've got the red boardwalk planks. Here you'll find mites scurrying around, but there is usually a ladybug around here as well, and they're pretty deadly. So if you need to farm fungal growth, go to both of these or 3 of these locations that I just showed you guys. The infected mites are a little bit tougher and stronger, and they do fire something at you that I do believe slows you down. It doesn't necessarily do as much damage. This is where you'll find usually the biggest concentration of creatures like this. Something you might want to consider early in the game is blocking up the weed killer canister with bubblegum. You will need a tier 2 shovel made with ant parts, black ant parts to do it, but this will stop the haze from leaking. This will make finding some of these infected creatures a lot easier. But be warned, it does mean that the haze won't kill regular creatures. It's always good running around in the haze because you often find bugs that have crept in and you can pick up their stuff really easily. But if you are playing on hard difficulties, you may have to do this because they'll simply be too strong, and you're going to need to wear your best armours rather than the gas mask. As you can see, it makes spotting it a lot easier, and you've definitely got more awareness of creatures and enemies around you. So to craft the Bratburst, you're going to need 2 fungal growth, 1 egg and 4 dried grass, and that's plenty easy to get the dried grass, so I won't show you how. Once you've found these ingredients, you'll naturally unlock the recipe for the Bratburst. The splatburst, the sticky versions, you will need the burgle chip that you get from the sunken outpost in the pond. The chip is situated in this lot's treasure chest, and it's on the way when you enter the entrance with the dinosaur and you go basically to undo the underwater laboratories. You are going to need the special key. It's hidden away in a cave behind the laboratories. The cave itself is a bit of a bugger to spot, and it's been a while since I've done it. I did take a look at it in this video, but I ended up finding it by coming from the back where there's a big slope towards the other side of the pond. Basically where you see the bits of laboratory stuck in the ground and a mount. You've got to go through these tunnels. There's a few water spiders, so you're going to have to be careful, and eventually you'll come to the place where the key is. So for sure, make sure you watch some of my other underwater laboratory guides to get a better rundown. But if that's all too much effort right now, you don't necessarily need the splatburst. You can get by with just the normal grenades. So one of the most important places you're going to need them is in the black anthill. You'll find this rock nestled between 2 parts of the broken laboratory pieces, and you can just drop one here and it will blow it up. This is going to get you access to the final little mini boss fight in here and give you more burgle chips and resources and items. I showed you that bratburst are fine to break it open, but yeah, if you've managed to get the sticky burst recipe, you might as well craft them as well. If you want to clear the black anthill completely, you're going to need at least 6 of the bratburst or splatburst, but you will find some extras inside some of the loot chests inside this location. In this one it's situated, you'll find a molar. I've done a proper guide for the black anthill, so go and check it all out if you want more help. To proceed to the next stage where you fight the mini boss fight, you are going to also need to go through the B doors, and there is another location where you're going to need to use your sticky bombs once you've taken out some black ants. In this run I had a good bunch of sticky bombs, so I went and used them, but like I said, you can just go ahead and use normal bratburst. Don't worry or waste your science points on sticky ones until you maybe have got an abundance. Lots of these chests inside the laboratory and the black anthill will have them bratburst, just to show you where they are. On the corridor towards the mini boss fight, you will also find this sneaky little stone just on the left as you come out of one of the containers, the laboratory areas. Again, throw another bomb and it will lead you to another secret cave. You're going to need 2 of these bombs though to get access to this cave. Inside you'll find a mega milk molar. And then one of the final uses inside the black anthill is after you've turned on the button that releases the screen, you will then need another bomb to blow up the glass in the corner here. You can go ahead and use a bratburst or a sticky one, throwing it in the right location will open it up. Next up is the haze, but you can get lucky with this where you won't need one. You can lure some of the weevils over to this door, which gives you access to the haze laboratory, and that will blow it open. Otherwise, use a bratburst. Warning though, as you advance through the haze laboratory, there's a whole bunch of infected creatures, so you may want to bring some extra splat or bratburst just to hopefully take them out a little bit easier, as these will mess you up. They can get through a lot of the shield damage or protection, even with the actual new black ant shield. Also, not sure if it's a glitch at the moment, but in this area here, once you've taken out these spores, when you go to harvest the rest of the fungal growths, they don't actually drop any. It could be a glitch, or maybe the devs don't want you coming in here and cheesing the growths quickly, because they will regrow, whereas the spores, I don't think they necessarily will regrow that quickly. But I tried every single one of these and not one fungal growth actually dropped. Next up is the rock that gives you access to the picnic table quick and easy rather than building huge staircases. You can knock the spade over and it will give you easy access. I would say this is the 3rd most important spot that you're going to be using the bratburst to get access to an area. You can now climb up easily and parkour the rest of the way up to the top of the picnic table. Other locations you're going to need them, inside the oak tree itself, normally where you find a bunch of wolf spiders, there is a stone propped up against the root, and this will have another golden milk molar inside. The last location you're going to be using them is to get access to the bombardier beetle, or where the hole is with the trowl. You don't necessarily need one of these though, as there is another entrance to this area, as long as you bring a hammer to break through the quartzite wall. This is an old location that has simply made it a little bit more difficult to get through now. Inside you find a scanner, as well as maybe some golden molars or milk molars, and I think a scab too. So if you want to get the Truffle Master mutation, you need to defeat the ladybug that's inside the haze laboratory. It's not going to be easy. The throwing the bombs around does really take a lot of damage out of you, but you've got plenty of places that you can kind of just about hide behind or kite around. I would obviously recommend its weaknesses, which certainly aren't slashing damage. So once defeated, it will unlock the mutation of Truffle Master. Truffle Master is going to allow you to defeat creatures a little bit easier sometimes, as it will create a fungal explosion as long as you're unarmed. I would say it's not the best mutation though, because of that random chance and it not being guaranteed. Sometimes, yeah, it's a little bit weird going around without a weapon. Little FYI, you can also find even more bratburst inside the haze laboratory, as well as sometimes in the hedge laboratory too. So there we go, that's the guide to getting the bratburst, splatburst, and how to utilise it around the map most effectively, and what you should be aiming for first. If you found it useful, leave a like. If you want to check out more grounded content, including my Let's Plays, go and check out my second channel, JCraft, and I'll see you right back with some more guides soon.